Welcome to Coffee with Carrie. Thanks for stopping by for 7 doomed dating texts. These are the ones, these 7 of them. There's more, obviously, but let's get to the top 7 of the texts that are just bad news, never going to work in your favor, never going to lead to successful dating if you're doing these things or responding in this way. No need to chat on about it. I have 7 of them. If that's at all interesting or intriguing, stick around because 7 doomed texts. I said it fast. That was pretty good. That's what's on the agenda. Hi, hey there, hi there. How you doing? How was your weekend? Boring. And lazy too. Don't do that. And a friend of mine, another matchmaker, not in this country, in another country. Yeah, I have friends all over the world. Great gal, great matchmaker and coach. And she said, when people do that, they are basically putting the onus on the other person to entertain them. If I just text you, hey, now you've got to come up with some clever thing to say to get a conversation going or ask me a good question. It's really kind of selfish when you think about it, when you're asking somebody else to be your little clown and entertain me, is what she said. I thought that was really interesting. I agreed, and I'm mentioning it to you for that reason. The other thing about that is that it's great if instead you can do something to entertain this person. Don't drop the ball on their side of the court. Send them something that will start a conversation. Say something culturally provocative. Send them some news article you read or a meme that you saw. Share a story of something that happened since you've seen them last. Add something to the conversation besides laying a question at their feet and expecting them to pick up the slack where you just laid it down. And yes, I realize that some of these are going to be at different stages of relationships, but then so are you and all of you. So this will have something applicable to you, whether this is someone you haven't yet met, whether it's somebody you've been out with once, or somebody that you've been dating for some time. And this one is the double entendre. Throwing out something that is sexually suggestive, knowing that it's a double entendre, knowing that it's going to be provocative sexually as opposed to mentally or humor-wise, is too much too soon for a lot of women. And I think maybe it goes the other way too. I don't know. No man has ever complained about that to me, to be honest. But I know a lot of women have said that if it's early on, especially if they haven't even met yet, that messages from a fella, not even ones that are explicit, but ones that are just constantly throwing out comments that are meant to be teasing perhaps, but in a sexual innuendo, is usually a turnoff for women. And I've coached my own clients, women, if that makes them uncomfortable, which it often does, to just immediately block that person and don't look back. So if you don't want to end up in the block pile, then instead think of something else to say, like some of the things we talked about in the previous one. Number 3, I know this one is cheating, but it's the text that never comes. The doomed text is the one that you never send saying, hey, it was really great meeting you, but I don't think this is a great romantic connection. So I really wish you the best. Have a great holiday or have a good summer, spring. You can mention the season perhaps, but don't ghost people. Be kind. Treat them the way you'd want to be treated. Do unto others. If you would want somebody to let you down by just saying, hey, I wish you all good things, but you're not the one for me, and which means I'm not the one for you. It was fabulous meeting you. Do that. Give that gift to the other person. When it's not working out, it's not difficult to let the person know, and you would want that in return, wouldn't you? Number 4 is sexting before real intimacy has taken place. It, again, is too much too soon. Women aren't fans of it with somebody that they aren't very comfortable with. And how comfortable can she be with you sexually if you have not yet been sexual? So hang on to all your little clever things you want to say, or encouraging her to send pictures or to get into that kind of a conversation with you if you are interested in continuing to get to know her better and eventually being intimate with her. That's my suggestion. The 5th doomed text is the one that comes in way too often. Happens a lot when I'm coaching people. Actually, it happened a lot when I was matchmaking people. I would follow up after their date and someone would tell me that the other person had been texting what they would refer to as incessantly since the date. And they're like, that's just too much. I have work. I have a life going on. I thought it was great to meet them too, but this person's scaring me a little bit. I think you should keep that in mind if your inclination is to continue to make contact to keep that connection alive. You don't need the texting to do it. Texting is not a great place to get to know somebody. That's what dates are for. Instead, use the text messages to make plans to get together so that you can learn more and get the answer to all those burning questions that you're probably texting. The sixth doomed text, that really is a tongue twister after a while, is any type of anger. If there's anger arising from something in this conversation, I encourage you to go back, look at it again, because texting is not the place for heightened emotions. If that's the case, they said something, they promised you they would be at your thing tomorrow, they're letting you know, don't get angry in a text message. Pick up the phone, give them a call, go over to their house, have a conversation outside, sitting on the front steps or out on the curb, in the car. Real life communications are what's required when there's conflict. It worked well for us all the way up until cell phones came along. I really think it's a much better way of communicating so that there isn't any confusion and people aren't trying to read tone into even something that might seem angry, and they're not. There can be a lot of confusion around that. If you have heightened emotions with aggravation or anger, don't do it in a text. In fact, I think it's important if you do read something in a text that's eliciting this heightened emotion of anger in you, go back and reread or ask them to clarify before you let yourself get taken down that road of being mad or getting angry. Because a lot of times we've read something inaccurately or they stated something poorly and then it was easily misunderstood. Number 7, doomed text, the one that you send when they have not sent one in a while and you're concerned if this thing is still happening. Are we going to still get together? Are we still seeing each other? Are we still on the same path towards continuing to date each other or having our second date this weekend? They haven't texted you in a while or it's been a couple weeks and you want to reach out. I know different people have different feelings about this. I suggest that you think this one through. Which way is it going to be doomed for you? For some people, that's going to be even reaching out in a circumstance where they're not getting anything in return, to be the person who says, I was thinking about you and we hadn't talked in a while. You must miss me. That's what you should do if that's the way you see it and that's what you feel would be best for you. Other people are going to feel, hey, if you're not going to be putting in any effort, I'm not going to be the one chasing you down. I know in my heart of hearts, if you were interested in me, I would have heard from you. I don't want to waste my time. I'm letting it go. I've seen relationships succeed in both scenarios, so I don't want to tell you. I think you have to really know the other things that are going on around this relationship besides this lack of texting and a feeling you have, the vibe you have, what their energy is around you. Are they really into you and they said they were going to be busy? Well, that's definitely different than if they said they were going to call you on Tuesday and now it's the following Wednesday. I'm talking about 7-8 days later. So use your common sense on this one, but be careful when you haven't heard from somebody and you're considering reaching out to them. I don't know what your attitude's going to be about that. Are you going to be charming and cute about it? Are you going to be angry? Well, you know not to send that one. If this is pretty new, this person doesn't know you really well, negativity of any kind is a doomed text. You're probably kind of spoiling things for them and how they think about you, to be honest. People are always hoping another person is positive, and if you're already willing to be vulnerable with them and share something negative, I would suggest until you two know each other better, they know you're a really positive person, you're just having a crummy day, that instead you vent to a friend or a family member who knows who you are and can recognize this is just something you have to get off your chest, some crappy thing that happened. But I don't think negativity in a text message with somebody early in the dating process is going to get you anywhere that you're trying to go. And I think if you do feel there's something that is negative you want to share with this person, in person is the way to do that, because I believe in some of these conversations, it could be context that needs to be there to make it all make sense for them and not to just judge you as a Debbie Downer, Donnie Downer. And then finally, any text message that is leading towards an argument. You can feel it happening. The energy and the vibe changes. I promise you, I've been through it myself. It starts going down that path, or tempers are flaring, or miscommunication continues on. Step away from your telephone or your tablet, computer, wherever you're doing this texting. Jump on the phone or into your car or make plans to have a conversation about this tomorrow, but stop communication if this is leading to an argument. That's not what texting was made for. I know some younger people may believe it to be true, but it is not. Texting is ideally suited for miscommunication. There's no context, there's no tone of voice, there's no facial expressions. I know my ex would always say to me, like, why are you being like this? And I'm like, being like what? Why are you angry about this? I'm not angry at all. What are you reading? He was reading something in my tone that wasn't there at all. So to avoid those types of misunderstandings, don't argue or get down that road towards disagreement in a text message, is my advice. Those doomed text messages, you keep those out of your life, makes everything else a lot easier in this relationship. I hope you found that interesting or helpful. If you did, Mom's here. She says give the episode a thumbs up and do me a huge favor if you would, and please subscribe to the channel. So many people who watch stop by but never hit that subscribe button, and I'd really appreciate it. The ring button lets you know every time a new episode goes live, and I'll look forward to seeing you back here again super soon. Super soon. Until then, have a good one.